Okay, thank you so much. So the live stream is on. Isaac, whenever you're ready, you can start with the roll call. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm going to start with the roll call now. As usual, please type Y in the chat box if you hear your name. Okay, great. Thank you, veteran. ASAP Algeria. I for Argentina. I for Argentina. NAPS Australia. AFOP Austria. SAFPUM Bosnia and Herzegovina. SAFPUM Bosnia and Herzegovina. CAPSI Canada. ANECIP Chile. ANECIP Chile. FECOF Costa Rica. CPSA Croatia. CPSA Croatia. CZPSA Czech Republic. IPSF Egypt. IPSF Egypt. TUPS Estonia. ANEP France. ANEP France. BPHD Germany. GPSA Ghana. HUPSA Hungary. HUPSA Hungary. ISMA Farsi Indonesia. IFSA Iran. IFSA Iran. JPSA Jordan. JPSA Jordan. KEFSA Kenya. KEFSA Kenya. LPSA Lebanon. MyPSA Malaysia. FEFAMEX Mexico. FEFAMEX Mexico. NZAPSO New Zealand. PPHSF Pakistan. APF Peru. FJC PPHA the Philippines. PPSA Poland. APF Portugal. KIFOS Qatar. KNAPS the Republic of Korea. FASFA Romania. FASFA Romania. NAPSA Serbia. NUSPS Singapore. SPSA Slovakia. Sister Sofadel Slovenia. Faith Spain. FIF Spain. ASEP Switzerland. ASEP, please send it to everyone because I have, okay, thank you. PSAT Thailand. PSAT Thailand. KNPSV the Netherlands. KNPSV the Netherlands. Okay, yeah, I see now. Thank you. TPAYC Turkey. BPSA UK. TAPSA United Republic of Tanzania. TAPSA. TDTUPO Vietnam. Elena, 1 second while I tally there are a lot of people missing. We have 29 full members present and voting.
Thank you, Isaac. Could you double check because motions committee counted 30?
Okay. I don't know who the 30th is, but I have 29 here, unless I missed one vote.
We have a clarification from GPSA Ghana.
Good morning, Edward GPS Ghana. Please, I'd like to I had a technical with my sound, so I want to confirm if I was able to. I've now rectified this. I want to confirm if the roll call has been conducted with my absence or something.
Yeah,
roll
GPSA
call.
Ghana was recorded for.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll just go through the chat box again just to be sure. Please give me a second, Yelena.
I have a clarification from BPHT Germany.
Yes, good morning, Max BPHT Germany. I just wanted to make sure that you got ANEP France as well.
No, so Isaac, Secretary General, I did not see under France when I was taking the role.
Yes, I think that's maybe missing because everyone is typing they counted 30, Isaac.
Okay, so I see ANAP now, sorry. But that was after I passed them because I had mentioned BPHT, had mentioned before they responded. So I'd like a clarification from Motions Committee if we should count that.
Yes, we count that.
Okay, that's fine. So that's 30.
Okay, thank you so much. So can we please update the number of voters on NEMO vote and on the parliamentarian system? Luckily, we reached a quorum. And we will move on right with the agenda, which is gonna be financials, then reports of the reception committees for World Congress, and then elections, if I'm not mistaken. So we start with motion, oh, sorry, I forgot to, first of all, we need to resume the standing orders, of course, proposed by IPSF Portugal, seconded by FGC PPHA Philippines. So now anyone who is against to resume the standing orders, please type against in the chat. I see no one typing, therefore the standing orders has been resumed. Sorry, UK, I missed you. And now we will move on with motion 13. This, the 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the financial report 2020-2021. And I would like to pass the floor to Luca, our IPSF treasurer.
Thank you, Elena. I will share the screen for this. Okay, I think you should see it now. So the financial report that I'm presenting is the overview of the financials of the full year 2020, which is the last closed financial year, and we will also have a mid-year report for 2021. Okay, I will not go into the details. You can find it in the document. What I would like to point out is that these 2 years were quite different regarding financials because of the pandemic. So what was the main impact of the pandemic on the finances was that we are having less expenses than usual because we do not have in-person events, so travel events and any other expenses related to in-person events were greatly reduced. And what we also, the impact of the pandemic also reflected on the SEP fee income because we did not have as many student exchanges as usual. In 2021, we actually had a normal, usual SEP fee income because the fees are calculated in based on the previous year, so 2019. So what happened in 2020 is that we had more or less normal income. We did not have merchandise or flat income, but more or less it was normal. So we had the usual income, but much lower expenses. So this resulted in a significant increase of reserves at the end of the year. However, we need to use this surplus of reserves in the upcoming years because in 2021 we have much lower SEP fee income than usual. And in 2022, it is better than this year, but we will still have low SEP fee income. However, what we saved up in 2020 should be enough to cover this difference. So I don't think in the end, when you look this, years from 2020 to 2022, as whole, I don't think we will have any loss. We just had to reorganize the finances to use what we saved up before later. At the end of the report for 2020, there is also attached the accountant's report with all the details. Okay, maybe one thing to point out is we also had sponsorship in amount of 3,000 euros for industry skills event last year. This was used as a money prize for the winners. We also received the annual financial support from FIP in the amount of 4,500 euros. Okay, and you also use the IPSF account for the organization of students and young pharmacists package for the FIP World Congress. In 2020, we started these preparations and we started receiving the registration fees for the package. However, as the Congress was postponed later. There was no in-person FFP Congress in 2020. We refunded the fees in full to participants. Okay, here are some details which you can also find in accountant's report for development fund. Yes, we also canceled most of the grants in 2020 because most of the grants are related to IPSF in-person events like Congress, regional symposia. Project grant was also canceled because MOs did not have many in-person projects. So in 2020, we only had the membership grant, and then the money that was not used in 2020 will be used for 2021 grants. In 2021, we managed to have more grants than last year. Here is overview of reserves. Okay, that's all for 2020. Let's move to 2021. Okay, so far when this report was written, this is the number of membership paid membership fees, and here you can find a list of those who did not. And okay, here is the list of applied member organizations who paid the fee this year. Once again, we received the financial support from FIP that we receive every year. So travel expenses, so far we did not have any, reimbursements done, but there were some travels. For example, you had face-to-face meetings, so travel is becoming more feasible. There was also AFPS in person, so there will be reimbursements for these events. We will see if executive meeting one for next Expo, which usually happens in October, will happen in person. So we do expect to have some travel expenses this year. We did not produce merchandise or promotional material because we don't have a Rome Congress in person. So for domains and publications, we managed to save up some money because we registered for Google for nonprofits. So we, no, actually, on Google for nonprofits, we saved up some money on expansion of Google Drive space. But where we saved up more money was Zoom, because as we registered with TechSoup, we acquired a 50% discount for Zoom. For this, we also had to pay this 67 euros fee to TechSoup, but it is much cheaper than GoToMeeting without discount that we were paying before. We are also paying the monthly rent for IPSF flat, so it was a bit increased in July this year. And we also received a refund from the energy company after submitting readings. So for regional offices, so the expenses made so far were related to grants for members. But as I mentioned, we expect to have some travel expenses refunds by the end of the year. For development fund, we managed to have more grants than last year. So we completed the membership grants. You can find the winners here. We have just finished evaluation for both the SEP grant and regional symposia grants. The results should be out, I think, today. Project grant will be released in August. And in the end, I added some recommendations for the future. Yes, this is also something that I pointed out during my annual report, that mid-year revisement of the budget is important. And I also think that it's important to continue the practice of including the accountant's report in the financial report. That would be all from me for now. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Luca, for your report.
You can share back the motion on screen.
Exactly. So can we please share the parliamentarian system back so that I can open the floor? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So once again, thank you, Luca, for presenting the report. And now I will open the floor for discussion on this motion. We have a clarification from BPSA UK. BPSA? Okay, could you? Yeah, Luca, go on.
Okay, so capital is, you can say, like general IPSF reserve. So we have a few specific reserves, like regional reserves. We have project reserve, 75th anniversary reserve. So these are reserves where we put in the money in separately. Reserves, capital is everything else. So whenever we have any unspent money, or we have maybe some extra income like merchandise, if it is not related to specific region, then it goes into capital.
Okay, thank you so much, Luca. Just for minuting purposes, I will read out the clarification, which is how is money added to the capital total. So now that we have that recorded, next we will go to the new points, and I have IPSF Portugal. Please take the floor.
Good friends, IPSF Portugal. Firstly, thank you for your report, a very complete one. We are aware that there exists an audit committee in IPSF. However, taking into consideration the referred in the accountant's compilation report, and quote, we have not performed any audit or review procedures which would enable us to express an opinion or a conclusion as to the fair presentation of the financial statements. We would like to know if it was ever investigated the cost of having this professional advisement or analysis to IPSF accounts, and also if you consider IPSF would benefit of such a professional advisement on finances, and in what way. Thank you.
Luca, go ahead.
Yes, so the compilation report that we receive from the accountants doesn't include any audit. So this means they compile this report based on the information that they receive from us, but they do not confirm if it was spent under specific budget item or something like this. So for this, we have the auditing committee. So for an organization like ours, I don't think there is a need to have an audit from the accountant, because this would be very expensive, and I don't think we really need it, because for this purpose we have the auditing committee. I think that actually addition of the previous extra member and an advisory board member to the auditing committee was a really great improvement. So I think since that was done, that the quality of audits done by the auditing committee increased. So the auditing committee is here to ensure that all the money is spent in accordance with the official documents, that there is not any misuse of the funds. So regarding costs, I don't know what would be the exact cost, but the compilation report costs 4,000 euros. So auditing would be much more for sure. I think that would be too high for IPSF budget, and I think this combination of our auditing committee and compilation report from the accountant is sufficient for the organization my hours. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Luca. And next we have KMPSV the Netherlands. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Henrik, KMPSV the Netherlands. So first of all, thank you for the report. We have a small thing here, but at the prospective member fees for full members, it stated 2020, which need to be 2021, I think. And also we were wondering that SFD didn't apply to become a full member. So does it need to be in the report like this? And the same for SAP Algeria or other farm Ivory Coast? Thank you.
Luca, you can go. Whenever you're ready.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, sorry, just give me a second. Okay, I'm checking the file. Okay, so regarding the prospective fees, so this is the list of the associations that paid the prospective fee this year. So it's just a list to track which associations paid. So in case any patent did not proceed back with application, then this fee would be on hold for 3 years, as described in official documents. For prospective membership fees, yes, you're right, it was supposed to be 2021 for full membership, but we received payment of prospective fees from the associations listed.
Okay, thank you, Luca. Next we have BPSA United Kingdom.
Hi, Sebastian, BPSA UK. Firstly, apologies, it's very late. What I'm about to say might not make sense. So the capital's increased by 30,000 euros on last year in December. So it currently stands at 150,000 euros. So does that mean that money isn't being spent in certain budget areas and it's being rolled over into the capital? And do you think that budget items such as the regional budgets that are quite low could be having more money in them, where that money is going to be used a little bit better? Thank you.
Luca, go ahead.
Okay, so last year there was, as I explained, a huge increase in the well, all of the reserves because we did not have travel expenses. So this is really exceptional. Usually we do not have this high increase. Okay, so this is better maybe to discuss when looking at the budget file. So there was a big increase in reserves at the end of 2020, but as I explained, we will need to use these reserves both in 2021 if everything goes as expected, and then in 2022 to make up for the SEP fees that we did not receive in 2021 and will not receive in 2022. So in the budget for 2022, I already included the usage of IPSF capital in the budget so that it can be used in the same way as income. So this is just a exceptional situation with reserves that would not happen if there was not pandemic. Usually we are aiming for these increases in reserves to be minimal because we are trying to spend the same amount that we receive.
Okay, Luca, thank you so much. So I see a new point from ASEP Algeria. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Elena. So Kenza from ASEP Algeria. So actually I have had a technical, so if the question has already been asked, I apologize. So the question is concerning, so I see in the report that many organizations have not paid their membership. Did these organizations give any explanation or justification for this? Thank you.
Luca, you can go.
So yes, I'm usually in contact with all the associations that did not pay the fee. So some of them are more responsive, some of them less. This is the state at the, so this is the status on the June 15th when the report was written. I expect that we will still receive some of these payments by the end of the mandate. For example, both PENS Nigeria and MAPS India, who are in debt for 2 years in a row now, have been quite responsive about this, and I expect that they would make the payment by the end of the mandate. However, some of the associations are not responsive. So as also I mentioned during my young report presentation, that the way to contact them is also through regional chairpersons if they're able to reach them out. So yes, we'll see if we are able to reach them out in another way. Yes, what is most critical are the associations who are about to lose the membership. So as the loss of membership has happened on the 1st of October, if the payments, if the full payment of the debts are made before that, before the 1st of October, then we will accept this payment. So these are the most critical, and most of them are responding. For example, KPSS provide, from them we did not get any response for 2 years now. So it all depends on the responsiveness, but in case, I mean, I really noticed that when association loses membership for not paying for 2 years in a row, that is usually because they are not responsive at all. When they're responsive, we usually manage to find a solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca. So far, I don't see any new points or directs. And if there are no new comments, I will close the floor for discussion and thank Luca for presenting the report. And we will move on to the voting procedure. So yes, please confirm when the vote is open. Thank you. So I can confirm that the vote has been opened. So please vote as soon as possible. Thank you so much. we have 5 full members left. It's ASEPA Algeria, IPSF Pakistan, Vietnam. So those 3 associations, please vote as soon as possible. Okay, once again, ASEPA Algeria and Vietnam. If you face any technical difficulties, please try to resolve them as soon as possible. Okay, so we have around 2 minutes left. ASEPA and TDT-UPO Vietnam, please try to vote as soon as possible. Thank you. You have 1 minute left. If you don't vote within this 1 minute, your vote will be split. Thank you. Okay, the vote will be closed now. Okay, we came to a decision. Can we have the results on the screen? Thank you so much. So Motion 30 reads, this the 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the financial report 2020-2021, and the motion was carried unanimously. Thank you so much. Now we can move on to the next motion, which is motion 31. This the 67th IPSF General Assembly sets the annual basic membership fee at 27 euros. And I would like to pass the floor to Luca to explain this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. So as you know, the basic membership fee is used in calculation of IPSF membership fees along with the income factor and numbers factor. This fee is decided each year on General Assembly. It has been 27 euros for years now, so I think it works well as it is, and there is no need to change it, so we left it the same. Okay, I think we can move to the discussion.
Thank you so much, Lucas. So I open the floor for discussion on this motion if you have any comments or questions. So far, I see no discussion on this motion. And I would suggest that we try to vote by chat for this motion. Therefore, first, did I close? I closed the floor for discussion on this motion, and we will try to vote through chat. Okay. So anyone who is against this motion, please type. Yeah, but we're on voting procedure right now. Asepa, I will take your new point after that. Anyone who is against this motion, please type against in the chat. I see no one typing against. Next, anyone who wants to abstain on this motion, please type abstain. Okay, I see no one typing abstain. Therefore, the motion was carried unanimously. And Asepa, I can take your new point now.
Okay, I drop.
Okay, thank you so much. And we can move on to the next motion. Which is motion 32. This, the 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the IPSF revised budget 2021 and IPSF budget 2022. And I will pass the floor to Luca again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I will share the screen again. Okay, so we have two things that we are voting on here. So one is the revisement of the budget 2021 mid-year to adapt to new circumstances, and then we are deciding on the budget for 2022. What is also included in this file are revised budget 2020 and outcome 2020 for comparison. So as I also mentioned during the financial report, all of these years are a bit specific, so this file is different than usual because of changes that happened because of the pandemic. So to sum up, in 2020, we had normal income but low expenses. So this resulted in unusually high increase of the total reserves because the SEP fees were still in 2020 calculated based on 2019 when SEP was happening normally. However, in 2021, this reflected as very low income in SEP fees. So as you can see, it's almost around 10 times less than usual. So this is where we need to use this money that we accumulated in 2020. So I included this in reserves to be used. However, in the initial budget 2021 was formed with assumption that we will have from Congress, that we will still have some travel expenses, which did not happen. So the amount of reserves used in 2021 will be lower than budgeted initially, but we still expect relatively high use of reserves in 2022 also, if we will have in-person Congress and more or less normal traveling. So like total usage of reserves, both in 2021 and 2022 should be a bit less than increase of reserves in 2020. So we should be fine here. Okay, on the left is short overview of the income. So I will not go in on the details during presentation. I assume that you went through the document. So here I stated like what reserves would be used. Here we have different types of membership fee income, SEP fee income, external income. Yes, so I put 1,000 euros of sponsorship here. This is like expectation that we would receive, but it will all depend if we manage to acquire sponsorship or not. Okay, miscellaneous income is from the usually comes from merchandise, and flat income is when we have FIP interns staying at IPSF flat, then they are participating in paying the rent for the IPSF flat. On the right, yes, we have expenses. So majority of expenses are on the biggest budget under expenses is for travel. I made this budget assumption that we will have normal travel because it's better to have it budgeted and then not need it than not to have it budgeted but you need it. So in case anything under this budget will be left unspent, we will just be using less reserves than budgeted. Okay, these are the travel expenses. Then regional office budget is part of the global budget allocated to be used by the regional offices. So here we decided total amount, and then how the money is allocated within these regional budgets are decided at the end of the year by the treasurer and the regional chairperson. So this will be done by the next extra. So this was increased to 2,000 euros like last year, and I think we can leave it at 2,000 also this year. The mentioned publications, yes, so the majority of expenses here are related to the website, but we also use this budget for Zoom subscription and similar. So I increased it a bit because, well, this year we are expecting to have some features, and yes, these features can get expensive. So I think it's good to keep this budget high, but in case it turns out that we would not need to use all the 5,000 euros, this can be revised at the next GA. Projects and events, okay, WHA side event, team registration, partner event registrations. Okay, PD competition is something that I had last year in the budget because we had ISE funded by sponsorship. Yes, so I expect that this will be funded by sponsorship. This would be the €1,000 on the left, but these are expectations. With sponsorships, it can turn out to be different in the end. Apartment expenses. Okay, so these are the usual expenses. Okay, maybe to explain like this big number under miscellaneous here is that this year we received invoices for municipality tax, which are actually sent every few years. So they did not send those every year. So this was paid for, I think, 3 years here and 1 year here. So I increased this also because of this. A permanent officer budget. Okay, this is something that we usually don't spend, but it is good to have it in case it's needed for emergencies. So I reduced it. I reduced it from €2,000 to €1,000 in a revised budget. So I think it might actually get used this year because it also will put here including pressure in case there is any urgent bank business. When it is possible that I will need to go in person to the bank to register the next treasurer during the handover, as I'm now official representative, and to register new representative, we would need to get there in person, so it is possible it will be used for this, but we'll see how it turns out with the pandemic restrictions. Okay, I think office expenses are pretty much self-explanatory. Okay, we have unforeseen expenses in case they are needed, and okay, that would be the short overview. I think we can move to questions.
Okay, thank you, Lucas, so much for your presentation. Can we share back the screen to the parliamentarian system? And I have a clarification from BPHD Germany.
It's Max, so this is BPHD Germany. First of all, Lucas, thanks for the excellent work these 2 years. We've been wondering, is it possible to use the reserves, so the capital, in the budget of the upcoming year? Or are the reserves locked once the money enters the reserves?
Sorry, Max, but this is more like a new point, so please register through the Google form as a normal question.
Yes, of course, it can be used. We just need to put it in the budget. You can see I have put it in the budget for both 2021 and 2022. So we have like reserves to be used, budgeted from the capital. So now we are using it to make up for the decrease in SEP income. But of course, it's not locked and it can be used anytime. We just need to plan it out and include it in the budget. And also in past years, we have also been including regional reserves in the budget, so regions can also use their reserves. this can also be included when the regional budgets are formed between the treasurer and the chairperson at the end of the year. We also put it in regional budgets in last years. We just did not use it this year because we had more expenses than expected.
Thank you so much, Luca, for the questions, for the answer. Are there any other questions or new comments on the budget? I'll wait for a short bit to see if, okay, BPHD Germany, go ahead.
Thank you, Max, 33 BPHD Germany. So as at least I can say for Euro, we found out that for the regional working group, the travel costs were not high enough, meaning for their personal meetings, they have to pay with their own personal funds. So we've been wondering if, since we have 150 euros of capital and reserves now, and we need to spend that anyway, of course, after being subtracted by the difference that's created by not receiving any SEP fees next year, can we actually increase the travel expenses from 2,000 to a more reasonable amount? Thank you.
Luca, go ahead.
So for our regional related work, also regional reserves can be used. Okay, so for I think we actually revised the budget this year so that since the money will not be spent, they would be getting the full reimbursement. So yes, I think for this year it is fine. And yes, regional budgets were increased to 2,000 euros last year. So I think it can be left this year to see how it works out. Well, we still don't know if in 2022 we won't have normal expenses or if they will still be lower. But if expenses will be normal, then it can be used as evaluation and then decided in the next General Assembly.
Okay, I have a direct from BPHD Germany.
33 BPHD Germany, Max. Thank you. But technically, the surplus that's not used is always brought back to the reserves. So we can plan for a higher budget than the 2,000 euros for travel expenses. And in case travel is not happening, as usual, it will just be returned to the reserves. So I don't see any issue there, since the financial report and the finances used by the regional working groups will have to be approved anyways. So I think we could invest the surplus we have right now in the regional working groups as well to boost the motivation, since we all know that personal meetings increase the motivation and the subsequent productivity. So I feel like it's an investment we should make, especially with all the resignations we received during this Corona crisis. Thank you.
Luca, go ahead.
Okay, I think, well, I think for this year, I mean, I think this year that full expenses should be reimbursed, and yes, I agree that we should aim to have as much. I mean, we should aim to have full expenses always reimbursed. Yes, as I mentioned, reserves can always be utilized, but what we are aiming for is usually to have the same amount of like income and expenses. So we yes, since we are a non-profit organization, it should be around the same. So these figures have been a bit different, but yes, usually we don't want to be keep using the reserves all the time, because we would just run out of the reserves. But just to clarify, did you mean to increase budget for 2022? Was that your point, or for later years?
BPHD, could you clarify?
Yes, that was my point. I was mentioning, for example, if we increase the travel expenses for the regional offices by, for example, 1,000 each, meaning the total travel expense would be like 15,000 euros. So 1,000 euro per regional office extra. If you think that would be reasonable or suitable. Thank you.
Okay, so for this year, I would not do it, because this a few thousand euros would just mean using more of the reserves, because it's already budgeted on reserves. So what about in 2022? In 2020, a lot of regional reserves also remained unused. So as I explained, in addition to this 2020, in addition to this 2,000 euros, when the regional budget will be formed, so in December, between the treasurer and the next chairperson, then they can decide to utilize also the regional reserves. So in addition to this 2,000 euros, I think this was already included in for euro. This was already included for in the budget proposal that was presented at the RA. There is also some money left from the euro auction night. So yes, in the end, more than 2,000 euros will be used. So they can still include this. It won't be so. These 2,000 euros are, money allocated from the okay. So if we did not use the reserves, this would be part of the income that we expect to be made in the same year. But in addition to this, reserves of course can be used, and for regional budgets they can be added in December, and that's better that this won't be done. It's already planned. So I think there's no need to change it in this budget here. Now next year, when we get back to normal income, then we can evaluate. Since we also we are getting new members every year, probably the income will increase a bit. So I think there could be room for increasing this each year. So it was already increased last year from the 1,750, and I think there won't be more room to slowly increasing it more and more. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca. Next, we have BPSA United Kingdom.
Sebastian, BPSA United Kingdom. So the regional budget for Euro was 2,000, and one meeting cost 800 euros for the regional working group, which is about half of the regional budget. I'm sure that's a similar problem that's in other regions as well. So are you saying right now that by December you're going to put more of the capital, the 150,000 euros, back into the regional budget? Just to clarify.
Luca, could you clarify?
Wait, can you clarify? Did you mean like moving capital to the regional budget. No, in December, so we can use the, okay, so regional, for regional related travel, regional reserves can be used. So regional reserves can be added in addition to this 2000 euros budget.
Okay, thank you, Luca. I see no direct. Okay, clarification, BPSA UK.
So I'll do a direct instead, so I'll drop the clarification. The reserves for Euro are not that much. They're about 1,000 euros. And already one meeting uses all of that money. And there's 150,000 euros in the capital. So why aren't we making every region have a 10,000 euro budget? Because the money is there and it needs to be spent on the members rather than sitting in the reserves where it's not being used. Thank you.
Okay, Luca, has that been clarified for you? Could you answer?
Yes, so well, basically, if we keep using the reserves every year, we would just run out of it. So it's not a sustainable solution, but yes, I agree that we need to keep utilizing it because I think before we basically didn't discuss reserves much. When basically we did not usually have the accountants report for the GA, so we would not have like exact amount of reserves. But like I said, for this year, we are already using reserves to make up for the SEC fee income. So like any increases in the budget would result, well, it would be taken out of reserves. Okay, for now, I would keep it at this because it's already a significant amount. But yes, I think we should keep utilizing the reserves, but like if we do it too much, it's not a sustainable solution, because if you just use more and more reserves every year for like regular expenses, and then we would just run out.
Okay, Luca, thank you so much. Next, we have direct from BPHG Germany.
33 BPHG Germany max. Yes, so as you just mentioned again with the SEP fees, if I understand correctly, we had about like the delta, the difference between the SEP fees we usually receive and that you are planning for in 2022 is 26,000, and we will spend 24,000 more than last year this year, according to the provisional budget. Meaning we are spending 2,000 euros more than last year, basically. But we still have the 150,000 reserves at that point. So I just wanted to make sure, first of all, did I understand that correctly? And then I'll ask my question.
That's a bit of a weird procedure to have a direct and then to, doesn't matter. Okay, we will take it like this. Please, Luca, clarify.
Yes, that's correct. So yes, it is somewhat, it was accumulated throughout the years. So yes, it is a lot of money, but I'll keep in mind that the situation is pretty uncertain at the moment. So I would not go too hard on using the reserves until it's clear situation. We don't know, if because what we had in 2020, we had a huge increase on reserves, but that was because we had normal SEP fee income, but pandemic-like expenses. In 2021, we already, now for 2 years in a row, we have much lower SEP fee income. Still for 2022, okay, it's budgeted around 6,000 something euros. I don't think it could be lower. Maybe it will be a bit higher, but we don't know what will happen for 2023. So let's say we have 10,000 euros of SEP fee income. That is still it can be still 3 times lower than the usual income of around 30,000 euros. So what if we will need to use another 20,000 in 2023? It's a possibility. So yes, I budgeted a significant amount of reserves for 2022. Yes, there is more in reserves, but I would rather be careful with it until it's more stable situation and easier to predict. But what I also pointed out is also during the financial report and my annual report is that we always have revised budgets. So what are we doing now for 2021? We saw that we will not spend maybe as much as it was budgeted, so we reduced this in the budget. So because the circumstances changed, so when we formed the initial 2021 budget, we still assumed we'll have in-person World Congress. So there will also be a revised budget 2022. So if circumstances change, if the situation will be more clear by the next GA, changes like this can also be implemented, and then still, it can reflect on 2022. So yes, in my opinion, I would be still careful with budgeting too much reserves, because I know we need to wait for SEP fees to become stable until we can budget more, I think, because what we will need to use like 10,000 euros of reserves for a few years more. It's possible. It seems like a high amount, but basically if we had like zero income, this would hold us for a year and a half maybe. So it's good to keep some reserves to be safe, because you see this year is one you think you never need it, but when things like this happen, then it's good to feel safe with reserves.
Okay, thank you so much, Luca. BPHC Germany, if you have a question, you have to register with a new point, please. If that's okay. Thank you. Next, we have a direct from BPSA United Kingdom. Sorry, I was unmuted. I will try to read it. So the question from BPSA UK is if the is not enough money in the regional reserve. Okay, let me just finish reading it. If there is not enough money in the regional reserves and regional budgets, and there is reluctance to use the 150,000 euro in the reserves, which is a huge amount of money, can you guarantee there will not be any financial barriers regarding travel expenses for either EXCO and regional working group members to be able to fulfill their roles? We have Luca, please go ahead.
Well, we usually rarely manage to, refund 100% of travel expenses, both for EXCO and also the RWGs, because travel expenses are regular expenses, and if we keep, as I mentioned, if we keep using reserves for something that is happening regularly every year, then in the end we would just run out of reserves. But okay, what also can be done if needed is part of the capital can be reallocated to regional reserves. It's also a possibility. What I think here is most important is to not budget for something that won't be spent, because that's what I noticed was happening in previous years. For example, we had for example, there was a budget for FIP booth around 1,000 euros, and it was not spent at all for like a few years in a row, and it still remained budgeted for 1,000 euros. So what I'm emphasizing all the time is I think a lot of these issues can be resolved just by proper revisement of the budget. So, for example, what used to happen was that we had FIP booth budget. It was budgeted 1,000 euros, and then it would not be revised at the General Assembly, and it would remain unspent. 1,000 euros would go to reserves. So what could have happened instead was we see that this 1,000 euros is not going to be spent. We see that there is missing somewhere in travel expenses to be covered fully. We can reallocate this 1,000 euros during the revisement to travel expenses. So I think this is more sustainable solution to have proper revisements of the budget mid-year than just to keep using the reserves. So we can, I think that each year we can use some amount of reserves because we are still high on reserves. But if you just budget a high amount of reserves this year, then maybe you would cover more expenses this year, but what would happen next year? It is not sustainable just to keep budgeting reserves every year. We can do it, but in reasonable amount. But I think just with proper revisement, a lot of this can be solved. Also, as I mentioned, capital is unspecified reserve. It can be reallocated to specific reserves. So we can decide to move part of the capital to regional reserve if regional reserves get too low. So it's on a possibility.
No, it's not a technical BPHD. This is your direct, but I will take first BPSA UK with the clarification.
BPSA UK, sorry, Luca, can I have a yes or no answer to that question, please?
Luca, can you answer this with a yes or no question, or do you want to refrain?
Or the one you typed in? Well, I cannot guarantee anything what will happen in the next year because I don't know what will happen, and I will not be the treasurer next year. But I think, okay, I think in case any financial barriers happen, I think it can all be resolved with proper planning and yes, proper allocation of the budget.
Thank you, Luca, for your answer. Next, we have a direct by BPHD Germany.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion. Thanks. 33 BPHD Germany max. Yes, so thank you for the clarification, Luca. I think now it's much more clear how you see things. And we definitely agree that your solution is the most sustainable one, with the reserves not being used in that way. However, we've been wondering if we understood correctly, doing the revised budget, only the money that was planned for the budget but not used can be used for other points in the revised budget, right? Meaning if we don't have any surplus from other points, the travel expenses will not be covered, right? Thank you.
Luca, you can go ahead.
Okay, well, basically, since the revisement of the budget is voted on by the General Assembly, basically anything can be changed. So what should not be changed are expenses that are already made by the time of the GA. But yes, anything else can be changed. If I hope I understood correctly your question, or do I need to clarify more? Yes.
Okay, thank you for your answer, Luca. Was that clarified, BPHD?
Partly, not 100%. So if I understand correctly, you just said that any expenses made until the next GA cannot be paid for or reimbursed in the revised budget, meaning if a regional working group spends travel expenses before the GA, the next GA, the 68th one, we cannot reimburse that money, but only we can, for example, say that we want that the regional working group wants to increase the travel expenses for after the GA, meaning they would be able to have another meeting in like September or so, for example. Do I understand correctly?
Okay, so yes, we cannot make the actual payment, so the actual reimbursement before, but you can do it retroactively. So let's say there was a meeting before the General Assembly, or regional budgets are revised at Regional Assembly. So let's say that the meeting happened before, but there was not enough money to cover it all. It can be then increased at the RA, for example, and then we can do the reimbursement after the revisement. So yes, we can also do changes for something that has happened before. What I meant should not be changed is like if we already, I don't know, reimbursed someone, not to decrease. I mean, we should not like decrease budget that was already spent. That's what I meant by should not be changed. But yes, expenses that happened before can be included. The revisement, just that the payments would be done after the revisement.
Okay, thank you, Luca, for the clarification. I hope that was answered. We have a procedural motion. Therefore, I will first ask GPSA Ghana to take the floor and share what procedural motion they want to propose?
So Priscilla CP GPSA Ghana, I'd like to propose that we close the floor for discussion and move to voting. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a proposal to close the vote for discussion. Do I have a seconder on this proposal? Seconded by CAPC Canada. Thank you so much. So you don't have to type anymore. And we will right away vote on this procedural motion. So please remember there are no abstentions on procedural motions. You can only vote against or for. Please remember only the full members that received voting rights during the roll call and only one OD per full member. So anyone who is against closing the floor for discussion, please type against in the chat. Please type it immediately. Okay, I see no one. Please type it immediately. I will close it soon. So anyone who is against, type it now. Okay. Everyone who is for, please type for in the chat. Okay, so we have one full member missing. Did any full member forgot to vote or forgot to vote? Okay, again, TP way up. Again, Taki? TP? Okay. Okay, so the results are now 11 against and 19 for. Therefore, the procedural motion passed, and we will now close the floor for discussion on this motion. It's okay, Taki. We will now close the floor on discussion for this motion and move to voting procedure. Thank you so much.
Yelena, the voting is open. Okay, so I think Yelena has to step out for a bit. If the floor is open, sorry, the vote is open, I'll be taking the chairing. So the vote is open, kindly vote. So we're missing votes from ASEPA, NAPSA, ISMA FARSIC, NPSV, PPSA, and BPSA. Are you experiencing any technicals? Now we're left with BPSA. BPSA UK, are you facing any challenges? There's 2 minutes left on the clock. BPSA. Do we have, okay. We're all set now. Kindly close. Kindly update the results on the parliamentarian system. Okay, so we have the results now. The motion reads, this the 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the IPSF Revised Budget 2021 and IPSF Budget 2022. Motion carried. Thank you, Luca. If you wanted to say something, you have the floor. Luca?
Thank you. Well, not much to add.
All right, thank you, Luca. Yelena is back, so I'll hand the chairing to her.
Okay, thank you. We have a clarification from BPHD Germany. Please take the floor.
So this BPHD Germany, Max. Yes, just one last clarification to round this up. So if we understand correctly, by your last point, you meant that if there are any travel expenses or general expenses that surpass the budget, then during the revised budget, as long as the RA and the GA accept the revised budget, those expenses can be reimbursed to the regional working group or EXCO. Did I understand that correctly? Yes or no? Thank you.
Yes, you understood it correctly. So as long as RA and GA accepts this proposal, that is correct.
Just one last thing, if I may.
Well, the floor has been closed for this agenda point. Was the answer clarified for you, BPHD?
I forgot one part of the question, I'm sorry. So you said yes, that it's possible, meaning also with money from the reserves, right? That were not in the budget, like the 150,000. Yes. Then thanks, and I'm glad we were finally able to finish this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Luca, for your patience in answering all these questions. Thank you so much. So now we can move on to the next motion. Which is reports of the reception committee of World Congresses, and the first motion, motion 33, reads this: the 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the final financial report of the chairperson of the reception committee of the 66th IPSF World Congress 2020. And if I'm not mistaken, then G1 should be in the room to present this.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes, G1, go ahead.
Okay. Can I start with my financial report first?
You mean 2020 or 2021?
Yeah, 2020. I will present 2020 and then 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can I share my screen?
Yes. Are you co-host right now?
No, I don't think so.
Sophia, could you make G1 co-host so that she can share her screen? Thank you.
Thank you. So let me start. Can I share my screen now?
Yes, G1, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will explain 2020 financial report very briefly, because this financial report was accepted last year already. So I uploaded this 2020 financial report at the GA folder. So if you want to see in details, then please refer to the report in the folder. And so I will point at this 2020 report. I want to point out the total outcome like this. So it's 27,396 euros are remained, and this is transferred. This is already transferred to our 2021 World Congress budget, and actually basically nothing has been changed from last year's 2020 financial report. And this is 2021's financial report. As you can see the budget transferred from last year.
G1, is this the 2021 report? Can we just open the floor for 2020 and then come back to 2021?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Are you finished with 2020, or do you want to go on?
Actually, I didn't plan to explain 2020 financial report with the detail, because it was already accepted last year. So I just wanted to point out the remain amount of outcome from 2020. And then I want to start with 2021 budget with this amount of money. Or do you think I should explain more detail about 2020 financial report? I can explain it.
It's okay. So for now, we will just shortly open the floor for discussion on the 2020 report so that we can vote on it, and then we can go back to the 2021, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. Can we just quickly go back to the parliamentarian system? Okay, so as mentioned before, basically this financial report didn't really change from last year, but why we are voting on this again is just because of the procedures from the official documents. So as a formality to have a vote on this as well this year. However, the report didn't change from last year that was accepted at the 66th IPSF General Assembly, just to explain. And now I will open the floor for discussion on this motion, if there are any points. I don't see any new comments, therefore I will close the floor for discussion on this motion. And we will try to vote on this through chat, if that's okay. So again, we are voting on motion 33. This is the 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the final financial report of the chairperson of the reception committee of the 66th IPSF World Congress 2020. Anyone who is against this motion, please type against in the chat. I see no one typing. Any abstentions, please type abstain in the chat. I see no one abstaining, therefore the motion has been carried unanimously. And now we can move on to the next motion. Next motion. Which is motion 34. The 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the report of the chairperson of the reception committee of the 66th IPSF World Congress 2021. So Jiwon, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, we can see it. We can see it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me start from income. We got 23,215 euros. Actually, the exchange rate has been changed. Korean won is basically same. We got this budget from last year's reception committee, and we pay back 16,001 back to KNEFs because we borrowed this amount of money to run our reception committee. But after we start our mandate, we raised many sponsorship from other companies or any government organizations. So we pay back this amount of money back to KNEFs. And as you can see here, we got 5 more sponsorship at this mandate. And bank interest was happened with this very small amount of money. And I'll move on to expenses. So academic events, we spent industrial skills event and patient counseling.
Sorry, Jiwon, I'm so sorry to interrupt you again. We are now first, I'm so sorry, but first is your report of the World Congress and then the finances.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
No worries.
I will share my screen again. Okay, this is my financial report, annual report for this IPSF World Congress. To see main achievements, we had about 2,000 participants are registered, and the average of 400 participants had attended of each event, and then number of maximum concurrent user was about 500, and we got record from our platform company that the one day maximum user was almost 1,000 people, and we got more than 40,000 financial sponsorship are confirmed. So the exact number of each participants are written in this report. So like total number of registration was 1,915, and we didn't got any registration fee from participants. And we use, as you guys all might know, that this World Congress was held through online. So we use virtual Seoul platform with the Zoom webinar and Zoom meeting. And this is the number of participants of each professional development event. And we held an industrial skills event, clinical skills event, and patient counseling event and compounding event. And we hold a scientific symposium and educational symposium. And we hold a workshop, 9 workshops, including which we prepared, and the special workshops such as alumni workshop and SEP workshop. And we also had a public health campaign via social media. And at this World Congress, we held a hackathon for the first time of IPSF World Congress. And the number of participants is 412 and 103 teams. And we also have a social program as well, opening ceremony and gala night. And we have 3 Korean night program. So one is Korean Culture Festival, which is we taught K-pop, cooking, and Hangul, and K-log, which means Korean live vlog. And we also had Korean Culture Quiz Show. And for the international night, we prepared 2 online events. One is Introduce Your Hometown, and the other one is Tell Us Your Story. So we got the stories from all participants from all over the world. And this is the list of our sponsorship. And we had a media and publication channels like this, official website, and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and we also published the pre-Congress booklet. I uploaded this pre-Congress booklet in the GA folder. So please refer to this booklet if you want to see details about our World Congress. And we run a 4 WhatsApp group chat to the immediate notification. So yeah, I think this is the report of this is the end of my report, and it was my great honor to serve as chairperson of IPSF World Congress, and it was really great experience to work with EXCO members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ji-won, for presenting your report. It was also an honor for us to have you here. Could we go back to the system so that I can open the floor for discussion? Okay, thank you so much. So I open the floor for discussion on motion 34. Are there any points, new comments? Please register through the Google form. We have Asapa Algeria.
Thank you, Elena. Kenza Shakhari from ASAP Algeria. So first, I'd like to thank the chairperson to have taken the initiative of holding this Congress online, and also for the amazing work that she has done. So actually, the question is concerning the plans for handover. So concerning the part of the collaboration with the different portfolios. So can you please detail the different aspects of the collaboration with the different IPSF portfolios? Thank you.
Ji-won, you can go ahead.
Thank you for your question. First of all, I think we should collaborate with IPSF EXCO members, mainly 2 or 3 parts. First of it was professional development department because we had to prepare professional development event during the IPSF World Congress, and we need to contact internal relation chairperson as well, because to confirm the IPSF membership of participants, and to manage and to have an alumni workshop, and also we need to collaborate with professional education, not professional, PE department. It's because we have to have a many workshops and symposiums. So we due to the collaboration, we can contact many global speakers from all over the world, and I think I should communicate or IPSF president as well, because he might know almost every flow of EXCO works. And actually the EXCO work was very new to me because I haven't had an experience of EXCO. So yeah, I think mainly this 4 members especially. Oh, and external relationship as well, because if you want to raise global sponsors for via IPSF, then you need to contact to external relation, chairperson of external relation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiwon. Next, we have HFAP, ITB Indonesia.
Thank you, Janine. So this is Jason, ITB Indonesia. First, I wanted to thank for the steady work of the World Congress team this year, and I wanted to ask a question since this is the first online World Congress, and the change from offline are also quite sudden due to the pandemic. What are your hardest challenges when facing these changes during the transition?
Thank you, Indonesia. Jiwon, go ahead.
Thank you for your question. To be honest, I think managing our reception committee is the major challenge for me, because due to the pandemic, even among reception committee members, we could not meet up that much. And I think the most important thing to run a reception committee is our teamwork, but via Zoom meeting or virtual meeting, I think it's very hard to have a teamwork each other. So I made many solutions to feel them close to each other, such as like online virtual ice breaking or something like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiwon. Next, we have IPSA Lebanon. Please take the floor.
Rana, IPSA Lebanon, thank you for giving me the floor. First of all, congratulations on pulling off an online World Congress. That was amazing, and you guys performed perfectly. Adding to that, you guys had around 500 people simultaneously and multiple events back to back, and a lot of things going on in the sessions. So I was wondering how you pulled that off, and maybe I could learn from your expertise for future use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jiwon, go ahead.
Thank you for your question. Before answer your question, can I check, did I understand well? So you want me to ask my experience of running 500 people at the same time? Okay. Basically, we used the Zoom platform, and it's been we had a pandemic more than 1 year, so our whole reception committee members are quite get used to using Zoom platform, and Zoom platform is very, very easy to manage whole events, even no matter how many people are join our events. So yeah, and if you need more, if you want me to help, if you prepare some events in the future, then please contact me. I will very happily answer your question, or I can give you some help. Thank you.
Thank you, Jiwon. Next, we have Irene, IPSF team member.
Thank you for giving me the floor, Irene, IPSF team member. So I would like to, first I would like to congratulate G1 G1 and the team for conducting this very successful and amazing online World Congress. My question is there any difficulties that you face when you are conducting the public health campaign during the World Congress? Thank you.
Thank you. G1, go ahead.
Thank you for your question. As you might all can imagine, that the most difficulty was that participants of PHC was decreasing because it's due to Instagram, like social media. So our team member also very worried about this situation. So we prepared many promotional posts, Instagram posts or Facebook posts, and at the same time we prepared like a protocol video. So we uploaded in YouTube, and we have like 46 reception committee member in our team. So we promote each other to participate this PHC, and please promote this PHC to your pharmacy friends. So like that's how we make more people join our public health campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, G1. Next, we have BPHD Germany. Please take the floor.
33 Max BPHD Germany. At this point, we would also like to thank you deeply for this organization, because the work of you and the reception committee was really outstanding. The professionalism in all of your events was clearly visible, and we could tell that you really gave your best and beyond to make sure that this first online World Congress sets the bar so high that it's going to be difficult for the next ones to keep it up. But since they can learn from our experience, we are positive that it's possible. There's just one issue, but it's more of a technical one. So obviously that is not your fault. But for the future, there were a lot of issues with the platform being slow or connections hanging. Of course, this can always be due to the connection of the members themselves, but how you take this into consideration for the planning of next year's virtual platform, since you put it in the handover section as well? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. We deeply understand this situation happened due to our platform is very new to everyone, so we have many problems with this. And actually, we supported this platform was supported by our Seoul Metropolitan Government, and the company was very new, so they don't expect that much participants will join this event. So like I think we had this kind of problems during the event. So at our event, so to solve this problem, we noticed the Zoom link of each event to let people join our event and not to miss our event. And for the handover plan, if someone tried to use a very new virtual platform, then please make sure that like many participants can join at the same time, and like to increase the server capacity, and I think use Zoom webinar and only Zoom webinar and Zoom meetings are a very good idea, but we choose this platform to visual effect. So if you consider to some other platform to show like visual thing, then I recommend you to use Zoom and the platform at the same time like us. Thank you.
Thank you, G1. We have a direct from BPHD Germany.
Max, BPHD Germany 33. Yes, at this point, also thanks again for always having the option with Zoom, since with Zoom everything went smoothly. So technically there were not any big delays, and you always posted the link in the WhatsApp group for everyone's access. So if I understand correctly, you mean that in the future, the next for the next virtual platform, the meetings should be separate only in Zoom, and the visualization in parallel for it to run smoothly?
G1, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Not parallelly, like, but if you, I think what I meant was, if you consider like visual thing, like the purpose that we use this virtual platform is to show our country, like, so it looks like Seoul City. So I really want you to feel like in Seoul City, even if you are in your room. So like that's why we choose this virtual platform. But in the future, if someone doesn't really care about like visual thing, then you just can use only Zoom, because Zoom is definitely very, very comfortable to use to hold this kind of event. So I think the virtual platform is optional. Thank you.
Thank you, G1. And we will move on with the new points. I have KNAP's Republic of Korea. Please take the floor.
Yes, Yena, KNAP's Republic of Korea. First of all, I really want to appreciate G1 and the World Congress Reception Committee for doing such a great job, even though it was a very difficult time. I really want to appreciate them for promoting KNAPS and Korea to the whole IPSF. And so my question is that since you've done such a great job, and I was hoping if you could do maybe a post-Congress promotion on the YouTube or the homepage. So are you planning any of those? Thank you.
Thank you, KNAPS. G1, go ahead.
Thank you for your question. We're planning to upload like post-Congress videos to like, actually we are making a video that 11 days of journey. So probably you can check this video via our YouTube channel or our Instagram. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have BEMF FFUI Indonesia. Please take the floor.
So thank you for giving me the floor, Limelia BEMF FFUI Indonesia. Firstly, I would also congratulate G1 and team for conducting the first online World Congress successfully. And I believe your dedication has really impressed everyone. I would just like to hear your opinion for future reference. So, like, is there any evaluation or recommendation regarding the registration system you have used for the World Congress? Thank you.
Actually, thank you for your question. Actually, the registration system that we used this time was very, actually, this is first time to use this kind of registration system, because we transfer to online events. We don't need to check very detailed information such as passport number or something like that. So we got a minimum of personal information, and then and we think that the number of participants increased really a lot. Like we got 2,000 participants. So like we checked IPSF membership monthly to send each MO's participants. And I think this is quite effective to work as a reception committee member, because we don't in the previous we need to check IPSF membership all the time, and at the time it was not a big deal because we had only like 400 500 participants, but this time we got 2,000 participants. So like work per month is very, very effective, I think. But the challenge was challenge was also there because sometimes some of CPs are not very well to contact. So like some participants' IPSF membership confirmation was delayed, and so some participants keep sending us email. So I think we should find some. We should consider to make better registration system to hold the online events. But I think we need to more simplify also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next we have Anne Franz. Please take the floor.
Thank you. Soho and Franz. First of all, congratulations for this wonderful job. You did an amazing work. What challenge do you think the next reception committee should work on to improve the World Congress? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I think the main challenge is that if you don't use, I think the certificate issue is the main challenge to improve the next World Congress, because we tried to use our log data at our virtual Seoul platform, but as you might all know that we had some errors when the participants' internet connection is not that good. So like if you're going to use Zoom, then I think you should prepare some special way to check their attendance, because through Zoom we cannot check the attendance, and yeah, that's it, I think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Next we have ASAP Algeria. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Elena. Kenza from ASAP Algeria. So since it is the very first online congress, did you plan on collecting feedbacks from the participants for future experiences? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yes, of course, now we're working on feedback form to release our participants, and also we are collecting their feedbacks. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a new point from BPHD Germany.
BPHD Germany 33 max. Yes, we just have one point of criticism where we wanted to know why it happened that way, or if that's just the usual case. It's about the gala night, which is depending on your time zone today. And unfortunately, the ODs attending World Congress will only be able to join the gala night for 1 hour. We do know that because of the different time zones, it's really difficult to get everyone to join. But would it be possible, and would you advise the next year for the planning of the GA and the World Congress to be in a way for ODs to attend the full gala night in the virtual session? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Actually, the schedule of gala night has been decided in advance before the GA schedule has been fixed. So we already rent the studio and the broadcasting company, so we couldn't. Unfortunately, we couldn't change our gala night schedule. I apologize for that. And to next mandate, I think the chairperson of IPSF the next World Congress and the Secretary General can communicate more earlier about the schedule of World Congress program and the GA. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have a new point from ASAP Algeria. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Elena. So it's a direct point concerning my previous intervention. So can I still intervene?
Sorry, Asepa, could you repeat?
So actually, it's a direct concerning my previous intervention.
Oh, okay. Now I see a direct. I'm so sorry. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So actually, still concerning the feedback form. So will that include will the feedback form be sent to all the registrants, the people who registered? And since there is a considerable gap between the number of registrations and the number of participants, will the feedback form include the reasons why these people didn't participate to the Congress? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, I will include this question in our feedback form as well. Thank you so much.
Sorry, BPSA, I didn't see your procedural motion because I was distracted by a discussion going on. Now that I don't see any new points or directs, I will close the floor for discussion on this motion. And we will move on to the voting procedure. I would like to thank Jiwon for answering all the questions. And it was really a pleasure to have you as the chairperson of the reception committee. Thank you so much. Okay, so the vote is open now. Please vote as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Okay, I have left GPSA Ghana, KMPSV the Netherlands, APFIP Peru, and NAPSA Serbia. Please vote as soon as possible. Okay, I have left GPSA Ghana and KMPSV. Okay, I have only left GPSA Ghana. Okay, the vote was closed. We will show the results on the screen. And I would like to congratulate Ms. Jiwon Song for her report being accepted unanimously.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was very impressive GA I've ever joined. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jiwon, for all your work. But you're still not finished. We will move on to the next motion, which is motion 35. This, the 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the financial report of the chairperson of the reception committee of the 66th IPSF World Congress 2021. Please, Jiwon, go ahead and share your screen.
Thank you. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. I will explain from income again. So we got budget transferred from last year. It's, the amount of money is 23, and 215 euros. But as I mentioned before, the euro money amount of euro can be a little bit different because our exchange rate has been changed, and we pay back to KNAPS because we borrowed this amount of money to run our reception committee and But after we start this mandate, we got 5 more sponsors, so we pay back this amount of money to KNAPS, and we got 5 more sponsorship and at this mandate, and so our total income is 40,257 euros. And for the expenses, we divided it as several parts, and the first one is academic events. It includes PD, professional development events, and symposium and workshop, and everything related to our educational program. So at each of item, you can see the detail. Reward is very fixed amount of money, and this is also noticed through our Instagram, because some of you can join our professional development event, and we bought an additional Zoom account to have a preliminary event such as ISC and hackathon, and we bought a Kahoot program to have our professional development event, and we also assigned some budget to give for speakers, and we prepared speakers gifts this amount of money per person. And let's move on to social events. Basically, online social events, the expense of online social events include rental of studio and some stuffs that we need to shoot online social events. And the price can be different of each event. It's because the price of studio is different. So for the Korean TV show, we run three session in one event, so the price is real expensive like this. And talk show, this talk show means an international night, tell us your story event, and this studio is also a little bit more expensive than other studios, so this is also like the price is like this, and the price of let's move on to facilities and utilities. Platform price is like this, 10,000 euros. And this will be all supported by our Seoul Metro government and our Korea Tourism Organization. These two sponsors, and other things are venues, because we rent the Dongguk University's classroom for 11 days, because we need our reception committee members to make a reception committee members camp. And RC accommodation was also, the budget is also assigned, because some of our reception committee members are from other city from the Seoul, and the transportation is also we provide transportation fee to reception committee members, because many of our reception committee members from other cities, and we bought hygiene products such as hand sanitizer and temperature machine. I don't know the word anyway. And this work platform is a kind of virtual work platform, like new type of messenger. And we work through this Jandi platform, and this is others. And for media and publication and live streaming, the equipment rental is for our promotional video. So it doesn't have any relation with the camera shooting fee during our event. And promotional image posts in video templates and banners and placard budgets are also assigned. And rental of video shoot props, it means out of equipment rental, we also need to rental some stuff, such as like one of our promotional video, we rent our traditional costume, and we have to support their admission fee to the Gyeongbok Palace and something like that. So we assign we use this amount of money to shoot a promotion video, and the video transmission price for social media and for academic events is like this. And we put miscellaneous, and this for miscellaneous, we spend buy something like scissors or tape and some stuff that some stuff when we work. So total amount of expense is 39,882 euros. So net income is 375 euros, and this will be paid back to KNEPS. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jiwon. Can we get back to the system, please? Okay, I now open the floor for discussion on this motion. If you have any new comments, please register through the Google form. Okay, I see no new comments raised. Therefore, I will close the floor for discussion on this motion, and we will proceed to voting. Thank you. Okay, we have 2 full members left to vote, KMPS3 and FGCPPHA Philippines. Please vote as soon as possible. Okay, so the vote has been closed and we will show the results on the screen. Okay, and motion 35 reads, this the 67th IPSF General Assembly accepts and adopts the financial report of the chairperson of the reception committee of the 66th IPSF World Congress 2021, and the motion was carried unanimously. Once again, thank you, G1, for being with us here today and presenting your report. And yes, thank you and have a nice last World Congress Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.
And I see a new point from IPSF Portugal.
Yes, Pedro Fernandes, IPSF Portugal. We want to quickly address a situation. Firstly, we would like to apologize to not have contributed to the discussion of these last reports. This was due to the fact that we were not aware that the agenda was modified. So we would like to take this opportunity to raise awareness for future assemblies on the importance of clearly noticed MOs of any agenda modification, as this has a direct impact on the priority we give to the document's analysis. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, IPSF. Yeah, so it was, I think the agenda was changed, that's true, but we voted on the agenda before. We adopted the agenda with the changes. However, we understand your concern, and I think G1 presented her report also on the screen, and we had a 30-minute discussion, so I think, yeah, they cleared it. But if anyone else wants to address anything, then please go ahead. We have a point of information from Isaac.
Yes, so it was my responsibility to share that in the updates email for those documents that had been updated in the GA folder. Unfortunately, I think I missed that. So I'll take the opportunity to apologize to the GA about that. I was contacted by Ms. G1 and the executive committee that it was part of the, what's the word? It's part of the requisition, the request for the sponsorship that they had secured from Seoul Metropolitan Government for their report to be accepted by the GA this weekend for the sponsorship to take effect. So we had to quickly amend the agenda as we had previously planned. And I think because we already put agenda in there, I didn't take note of that as a new document. So that's definitely my error, and I apologize profusely to the GA for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. And next agenda point would be the elections. Okay, so we reached, yes, we have a clarification from PPSA Poland.
Joanna, PPSA Poland. We were wondering if it shouldn't be right now the report of the 67th IPSF World Congress chairperson, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's early morning for me, and I'm not sure if I didn't miss anything.
Yes, so BPSA Poland, we just moved the report from Seoul, Korea, because of the sponsorship that Isaac just explained. And the
Okay.
67th will be like the normal agenda next weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. So we reached the fun part, which is the elections of the next executive committee, 2021-2022. And we will go by order according to the official documents. And the first election would be the election of the president. And for the president, we have one nominee, Mr. Osama Madadi, who is currently holding the position of the president-elect, and according to official documents, only the president-elect can apply for the first round application, election for the president. So how it will go is that all the candidates have presented a video and a nomination form, and I hope you've seen the video and the nomination form, because we will not play them or show them on the GA. We will straight go to open discussion. And for the answers, we will time it with 1 minute. That's because of our internal rules. We want, if there are multiple candidates, we want to have it fair for all. So that's why we always have 1 minute for all the answers. I hope I did not forget anything else about the procedure, but I hope the procedure for now is clear. And then, yes, we will have open discussion and then close discussion, of course. Okay, so now I would like to open the floor for discussion on the first election of the president. Okay, thank you. I see you on the list. First, we have KMPSV, the Netherlands. Please take the floor.
Yes, thank you, Henrik, KMPSV, the Netherlands. So thank you very much for your application. We were wondering also regarding the situation this year with the GA folder and the reports of EXCO, which I addressed. How do you plan to keep EXCO and the team motivated and excelling throughout the mandate, even if the pandemic like this continues? So how will you prevent the situation of this year? Thank you.
Thank you, Osama. I think you're here. Please answer the question.
Thank you so much, KMPSV in the Netherlands, for the question. Well, when it comes to team motivation, to be honest, it is a tricky concept. However, with continuous communication and proper follow-up with the help of everyone on the Secretariat, I think we can reach a satisfying results, except when there are some circumstances that are beyond our control. However, for the general rule, the results would depend on the people as well as our efforts as a team to contribute to each other and complement our work. And that would be the plan, with the help of everyone on the executive committee, to be realistic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next on the list, we have IPSF Lebanon. Please take the floor.
Rana, IPSF Lebanon. First of all, thank you so much for your application, Mr. Osama. My question is regarding policy and advocacy. So you said you will be keeping up with how MOs implement this. I was wondering if you have a plan to increase MO involvement in this portfolio with the help of anyone else involved, of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much, IPSF Lebanon, for your question. Well, for the promotion of policy and advocacy, I think that we have been making some progress in the previous years. We have received more interest from an increasing number of member organizations to develop and have a special team position in their own structures for policy and advocacy. And we think, I believe that if we can provide more materials for this kind of integration of the policy work for most member organizations, even the ones where they are restricted by the country rules or the status of their organization, to restrict any kind of policy and advocacy work beyond the internal of their organization. So yes, I would advise my policy coordinator to develop a certain content for integration of policy committee and policy work in different structures based on request and based on our previous experiences.
Sorry, Osama, I have to stop you. Your time is out. Thank you so much. Next, we have ASEPA Algeria with a direct.
Yes, thank you, Elena. Kendra from ASEPA Algeria. My comment is regarding the privileged intervention. So are there any specific plans for the organizations that are not yet familiar with the concept of policy? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So when it comes to a member organization who are not familiar with the concept of policy and advocacy work, we do have our yearly policy sessions, which are a way to assess and screen any kind of gaps in our organization, and by accompanying them with the help of the different portfolios relevant to the policy work, including the regional relation officers and the internal committee, we can add to what we are already doing with the new member organization and provide any sort of guidance whenever we see that member organization are not taking interest in the different initiatives that are relevant to policy and advocacy in the Federation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have FGCPPHA Philippines. Please take the floor.
Bill, FGCPPHA Philippines. Thank you, Osama, for your application. So under your agenda for governance and operations, you mentioned that you plan to standardize operations and structures in the portfolios and regions. Can you expound more about your plans in line with this? Thank you.
Thank you so much, GCPPHH Philippines. Well, when it comes to our work as president-elect, I had the chance to work with different portfolios and different structures on the regional level. And I noticed that it would be much smoother for the communication between, and if we want to establish any inter-portfolio collaboration, that we use the same terms and the same procedures for the tasks that are relatively similar, like creating forms or communicating with participants, creating new position in the regional structures. And that can be achieved by stressing or screening what is being done on the regional level, which we have managed to do this year with the elaboration of the quarterly report. Sorry, the quarterly report. Now we have a good understanding of the different position on the regional level and their duties, which we can later align and unify. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Osama. Next, we have APF Portugal. Please take the floor. APF, please take the floor.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I was talking, but you can't hear me. Carolina Small, with Portugal. So, apart from climate change, which you refer in your nomination form, what other topics do you consider important for IPSF to address in the next mandates regarding policy and advocacy? Thank you and sorry.
Thank you so much for your question, of Portugal. Well, in addition to what I've already mentioned in my nomination form, I think the collective voice of pharmacy students and recent graduates in our federation are demanding more integration of what is the application of digital health in pharmacy, and also when it comes to the different practices of the clinical pharmacy in the field, especially in countries where clinical pharmacy is not really implemented and the interprofessional collaboration is not reached. And we can stress that on some regional levels as well as the global level. In addition to that, we can approach different career paths that are not popular in the world, like social and administrative pharmacy, regulation and pre-qualification, as well as different pharmacy practices that we should promote and discuss as a global federation. Thank you.
Thank you, Osama. Next, we have again Up of Portugal. Please take the floor.
Good afternoon, Up of Portugal. Firstly, thank you for your nomination form. It's very complete and clear. You referred in this document that pitch and test plans to move some operations and communications to the website, and we would like to ask you to further elaborate on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Papa Portugal, for your question. Well, we have witnessed in this mandate a shift of some functions, especially when it comes to the contact person interactions on the group, and now we have a CP form. And in addition to what we already have when it comes to student exchange program and how SEOs are interacting with their exchange students, many functions on the database can be improved or reintegrated as planned initially when the creation of the database, where we had the chance to perform communication between SEOs and exchange students, where we can control the communication and prevent any kind of undercover SEP. Also, when it comes to voting by correspondence, there is a possibility to have something like that on the website, and I would be trying to see with our
Sorry, Osama, I need to stop you. Thank you so much. Next, we have Anne France. Anne France, I don't know if you're talking, but if you are, we can't hear you.
So in France, sorry. So first of all, thank you for your nomination, Osama. For you, what will be the biggest challenge in your mandate if the health crisis continues? Thank you.
Can I have clarification of that? Can you repeat the question?
Anep, you were lagging a bit. Could you repeat the question again?
Yes, of course. So in France, so for you, what will be the big challenge in your mandate if the health crisis can?
Anep France, you were lagging. Could you please type it in the chat if possible? Okay, so I will read out the question from Anne France. Thank you for your nomination. For you, what will be the biggest challenge in your mandate if the health crisis continues? Thank you.
Well, if the health crisis continue, and that's probably going to be the scenario for probably half of the regions at least, we are expecting the same atmosphere, the same financial difficulties to secure funds for virtual events, as it is more difficult to do so comparing to in-person events. And the team with all of our external people involved with the external communication are thinking of ways to for creative ways to have proper financing for these events, even if the crisis continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have IPF Portugal. Please take the floor.
Bruno Alves, IPF Portugal. Thank you for your nomination, Osama. Can you briefly make a SWOT analysis of the Federation, stressing some strengths, opportunities, weakness, and threats? Thank you.
Thank you so much, IPF Portugal. Well, currently, the strengths of the Federation and its weaknesses are similar to the previous mandate. There is diversity, there is different cultures, there is the strong instances, the financial restrictions, and the fact that we are a student-based organization. However, when it comes to threats and opportunities, that's the factors that change with every mandate. For this mandate, we had our relationship with WHO renewed, which would mean more opportunities for us to focus on more WHO and FIP sections to work with and focus on. However, the threats remain with the health conditions and the current situation where we have no visibility of the future. So we would not be able to plan or focus on one scenario where we can gather all of our. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Irene, IPSF team member. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Irene, IPSF team member. Thank you, Osama, for submitting your nomination form. My question is, you mentioned in your nomination form that you're going to organize specific sessions to highlight new and customary regulations or changes and include trainers in delivering and widen training topics and spectrum. Are you going to continue the capacity building sessions that have already been done this mandate? And if, yeah, are you going to continue that? Or if yes, what would be the difference between this mandate and the previous mandate? How would you improve it? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irene, for your question. Well, it is important for the team to be well equipped with information, as it is easy to miss some of the information, especially for new members who did not have the chance to attend previous GAs or read the minutes from previous conversations. So providing certain content for them is very much useful for the proceeding of the work. As for the capacity building session, I think they had their fair share of audience, and it would be unfair for them to discontinue this work. I would proceed with providing more opportunities for different people to prepare and deliver this under the supervision of the training coordinator. And instead of targeting only live audiences, we would try to collaborate with MMP on putting this as one of the programs on IPSF TV, probably, for easier access and more visibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Osama. Next, we have MyPSA Malaysia. Please take the floor.
Hello, this is Daying, MyPSA Malaysia. So first of all, thank you for your nomination. Based on your motivational speech, you said that we should include more people in the most crucial and important tasks in order to prepare them to take up various responsibility. Yes, I agree with you that it is good to build up responsibility and future leaders, but we all know when there's more people, there's going to have more issue arising, unproductive members, unresponsive committees. That's not what we want, or even more resignation happening, because as we can see, this study has a lot of resignation happening. So what's your plan in preventing this from happening?
Thank you so much for your question. Well, in my point, it was more focusing on sharing the access to the opinion making rather than dropping any kind of major responsibilities on people who are not comfortable with taking these responsibilities. As for resignation, for IPSF, it is our main focus to make sure that the environment and the atmosphere in IPSF would not play any role in contributing to any situation where a person might find themselves needing to resign or cause any kind of situation where a person may decide to resign because of the federation or influenced by the federation. However, we cannot control any kind of other factors that take place, like promotions or exams or any kind of illnesses. And it wouldn't be fair to force anyone to stay on the team. It won't be any beneficial for the team as well if the person cannot fulfill their duties and perform as good as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Osama. And I think Asap Algeria dropped their direct, if I'm correct. So can we go back to the new point? Okay, next we have BPSA Poland.
IPSA. So first of all, thank you so much for your application. We would like to ask you, in your application, you mentioned boosting IPSF social media platforms and platforms such as official website. What practical actions will you take to make that happen? Thank you.
Apologies, can you repeat the question?
Okay, can you?
Yes, please go ahead, repeat the question, maybe a bit slower so that we can clearly hear you. Thank you.
Okay, so Bogusław IPSA, in your application, you mentioned boosting IPSF social media platforms and platforms such as the website. So we would like to ask you, what practical actions will you take to make that happen? Thank you.
During this mandate, we have the chance to try different approaches on social media, and I think the GA may have already noticed the different shifts in the kind of content that is being shared on our social media. That is partially due to the change of the branding director and the team on the MMP portfolio. However, to be more involved on social media, we can have more people and follow the strategic plan already implemented by Amira on a bigger scale, touching on different social medias and giving enough focus to the different kind of platforms that we are sharing our content on. Thank you.
Thank you, Osama. Next, we have Up of Portugal.
Up of Portugal. We wanted to ask you, what was the most valuable lesson you have learned as president-elect, and in what way it will impact your mandate as the next president of IPSA? Thank you. IPSF, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Well, I think that the most valuable lesson I have learned as president-elect is how much potential given enough space and opportunity for team members to express and freely share their creativity on how to implement different ideas. And during this mandate, when given people who are comfortable with the responsibility of developing their own set of image or the kind of creativity they want to implement, has helped us reach a impressive and unpredicted kind of return of investment in their own creativity and capacities. And I plan on giving my team their fair and the space they are comfortable with to implement what they have in mind, because the more ideas we have, the better the outcome is likely to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Osama. And we have a procedural motion from PPHSF Pakistan. Could PPHSF Pakistan please clarify what procedural motion you want to propose?
From PPHSF Pakistan. So I want to pass procedural motion to increase the time of question and answer to 120 seconds. As questions need to be answered very detailed. So I think there should be increase in time to 120 seconds.
Okay, so you want to increase the time for debate for 90 seconds, right? If I understood correctly.
120 seconds, 2 minutes.
2 minutes for answers and questions.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Seconded by IPSA Lebanon. And I will through the chat, I will now open the floor for discussion on this procedural motion. Because we have right now a speaking list going on for the election. So if you want to say anything about this procedural motion, please type it in the chat. Okay, I have IPSA Lebanon.
Rana IPSA Lebanon. The reason why I seconded this motion is because I feel like Mr. Osama is not getting enough time to answer. Like, he's almost always cut in the middle of a sentence, and the questions are pretty detailed. And so the answers have to be detailed as well. So I feel like it's unfair. Thank you.
Okay, I have PPSA Poland.
Yeah, I'm a PPSA Poland. So we are against this motion because we believe that 1 minute is enough, also basing on the experience from previous elections, and also is already 7. So the session is supposed to be ended right now, and we still have questions and we still have closed discussion, and it's very early for some of us, and we haven't been sleeping for a while, so we do not agree with that. Thanks. And yeah, and sorry, please just let's respect each other's time zones and do not exceed times of the session. It's really not comfortable to not sleep. Thank you.
Okay, so just to clarify with the clarification from Philippines. So yes, if this is a procedure, always a procedural motion for the whole agenda point, not only one election. Next, I have a direct from Asab Algeria. I hope I can follow.
Thank you, Elena. Can you go from Algeria? So actually, I can understand the point of view of PPSA Poland, since we are in almost the same situation. It's 6th year, but I think it's still an important topic. Like, it concerns the election of the president and the future of the federation, and needs time to answer the question. Thank you. So we are in favor of this procedural motion because considering the importance of the context. Thank you.
Okay, next we have IPSA Lebanon.
Rana IPSA Lebanon. So I too understand what the delegate from PPSA is saying. I have the same issue. I have not slept either, and it is 8 a.m. here, so completely understandable. And I also want us to finish the agenda points quicker. However, as Kenza said, it is a bit unfair to boil this through just because we want to finish. Thank you.
Okay, next we have PPSA Poland.
Yeah, I'm a PPSA Poland. So as I mentioned before, it used to be always 1 minute for the candidates for their answers. So we believe that like they also should try to stick to that. Thanks.
Okay, I have KMPSV, the Netherlands.
And I came PPSA Netherlands, so we completely agree with PPSA. Like, increasing the time limit, doesn't like get a concise answer. You just can't talk for longer, which doesn't always get a better answer. So if they keep it within 1 minute, they should have enough time. So thank you.
Next we have PhD Germany.
So to see Max PhD Germany, we would like to propose an amendment for the procedure.
PhD Germany, there are no amendments on procedural motions.
But we can propose the proposal to change it, right?
No, so there are no amendments on a procedural motion. Only the proposer can change their own motion or withdraw it.
Okay, then I'll propose to the proposer to change the motion in the following way.
You can only state your opinion. You cannot propose to the proposer.
Okay, then we want, okay.
Okay, thank you, BPhD. Next, we have IPF Portugal.
Portugal. So we will understand the situation, and we would like to share an option, maybe maintain the 1 minute to questions and 1 minute to answers, and just add a 30 seconds tolerance for the answers, if I make this clear. And I think that solves the problem. Thank you.
Next, we have MyPSA Malaysia and BPHD. You cannot propose a procedural motion during discussion on a procedural motion. We have to follow the rules. So MyPSA Malaysia, please take the floor.
All right, thank you. But this is direct to the previous one, so I don't think the applies here, so I can drop it.
Okay, next we have BPHD Germany.
In that case, we are of the opinion that IPSF had a really good idea, but we would change it to that the questions would take 1 minute maximum and the answers would be 90 seconds. And then we can still add the 30-second buffer to the 90 seconds, because I believe 90 seconds would have worked most of the time. I'm seeing the answers that Usama gave. And if we ever need 30 seconds more, he'll get, like the EXCO nominees will get it. Thank you.
Okay, can I ask the proposer and the seconder if they want to change their procedural motion or if they want to keep it like that?
Yes, I want to change my proposal motion. Procedure, sorry. So 90 seconds will be enough, I think.
Okay, so the proposer changed his procedural motion and the seconder agreed with 90 seconds for answers. Any further discussion on the procedural motion? As I see none, we will now vote on the procedural motion. Please remember no abstentions, only against or for. Please remember only full member. Please remember only one OD. Okay, anyone against this motion to increase the time to 90 seconds? Please vote immediately. Please vote immediately. If you want to vote against, please vote immediately against. Okay, as I see no one typing anymore, anyone who is for, please type 4 in the chat. Okay, guys, this is very interesting now because we have 30 voters. We have a tie, and it's 15 for and 15 against. So we will have to vote again. Okay, so please decide now on your vote. And because we need simple majority, we need 16 either to pass or not to pass. Okay. So therefore, anyone who is against this procedural motion, please type against in the chat. Oh, okay, sorry. I just got the confirmation that when it does, can I just confirm with motions committee that if there is an absence of simple majority, the motion does not pass automatically. And if there is a tie, because there is an absence of simple majority, the motion does not pass automatically. Okay, sorry guys, we had a bit of a discussion to interpret the official documents correctly, so I hope you're understanding with us. So basically, in the standing orders, Article 4.1.1, all procedural motions require a simple majority to be passed as defined in Article 7.3 of the standing orders unless other specified. Therefore, even if it's a tie, it's not a simple majority, didn't reach simple majority, and therefore the procedural motion didn't pass. So we don't need to re-vote again. And therefore the procedural motion did not pass, and we will move on back to the new points. And I have a procedural motion to close the floor for discussion. Do I have a second on this? Seconded by TPAYC Taki. And we will now vote on this procedural motion. Please remember, only against and for. Please remember, only for members and only one OD. I hope you're all ready. Everyone who is against closing the floor for discussion, please type against in the chat. Please vote immediately. Okay. I see no one typing anymore. Therefore, everyone who is for, please type 4 in the chat. Again, please vote immediately. Okay, please vote immediately. Did every full member vote? Okay, it seems like we have 2 full members missing. Are there any full members who did not vote on this procedural motion to close the floor for discussion? Again, 2 full members did not vote. Please check if you have voted or not and report back to us. Okay, guys, please check if you have voted. Okay, so please give us a second to see which full members did not vote. Otherwise, we will repeat the voting. And okay, PPHS Pakistan, you did not vote. Why is there 4 now on the chat? IPSF Peru, did you vote? PPHSF, you voted for and you voted against. You can only do 1. Okay, guys, if this is not working out, we will try with a roll call. But first, once again, we will need to repeat the vote on the procedural motion to close the floor for discussion. Once again, please, all of the 4 members present at the roll call, try to vote now. Anyone who is against, please type against in the chat. Anyone who is against, please type against in the chat. And immediately, please. Okay. I see no one typing anymore. Every full member who is for, please type 4 in the chat. Okay, we only have 28 full members voted, and now we have to check who is missing. Okay, so IPSF Peru, did you vote? Because we don't see your vote on the chat box. And please tell us if you're present, because we see you in the room. Okay. Thank you, IPSF. And do we have NAPSA Serbia in the room? Because right now I don't see anyone from NAPSA Serbia in the room. Okay, NAPSA Serbia is not in the room, therefore their voting rights will be suspended. And the motion to close the floor for discussion passed. Okay, thank you so much for your patience. So now that the motion for closing the floor passed, we will move to close discussion. Thank you, Osama, for all the answers, and we will please go to the breakout room that we assign you to. with another